How did you discover government contracting at such a young age?
Yeah, so I discovered it, through my friend, former friend, I should say, Ephraim Diveroli, who in the movie is played by Jonah Hill.
By the way, is he still incarcerated?
Or? No. He ended up serving 3.5 years.
Oh, wow.
But he got out. He's been out for a while. He
guys
lives in Miami. No, we're not friends.
Not friends? Do you ever see each other?
The last time I saw him was in a deposition when I was suing him.
Oh, wow.
So, we're not friends.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not friends.
Arch nemesis.
Yeah. He still owes me $5 million. So, when he pays me that, we could be friends again.
Yeah, shake hands, move on.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah. If he ever pays me that, which he won't.
So were you guys in school together?
So we knew each other from synagogue, actually. We're both Jewish.
Yeah.
And cue the anti-Semitic comments on YouTube. I've seen a lot of that.
Yeah, sad.
Unfortunately. But it is what it is. So I actually like it when anti-Semites comment on my YouTube videos.
Really?
Because then it helps the algorithm, The more YouTube feeds off of outrage. So if people are outraged, so go ahead, anti-Semites.
I'm Jewish too.
Yeah, so there we go.
Welcome the comments.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
We're gonna get more views.
Yeah, exactly. So you should embrace the hate. It's good for the algorithm, unfortunately.
Well, I'm sure any hate you get now is trumps in comparison to the pain you suffered from being on the New York Times.
Oh, No, it doesn't really bother me. It's fine. I kind of just laugh it off. People think I'm like part of the elders of Zion, the protocols of the elders. I'm part of the Illuminati. I get it. To me, it's kind of a compliment. It means people think I'm important.
Yeah.
That I'm like involved in secret going ons at the world stage. But and so it's fine. So we were saying we met in synagogue. Both of our parents were very religious Orthodox Jews.
Yeah.
We grew up Orthodox. And but neither of us liked to pray.
Yeah.
So we would kind of sneak out of synagogue and go hang out outside. And that's kind of how we met. And so he got kicked out of, we went to Orthodox Jewish schools, but different ones, not the same one. And they're very strict, right?
Yeah.
So he got caught smoking weed, and so he got kicked out of school. And when he was 16, and his parents said, if you're not taking the rules seriously, you're gonna learn what life is about. You're gonna join the workforce.
Yeah.
So they sent him off to work for his uncle, who owns a big pawn shop in LA. And one of the things pawn shops sell in America is guns.
Right.
And he became like a gun nut. He became, teenage boys get obsessed with guns, sports, music, certain things, that kind of really becomes your identity as a teenage boy.
Yeah.
So he became a gun guy, and he got obsessed with the guns, even though he was 16.
Yeah.
And he started selling the guns to the customers in the store, and his uncle noticed he was pretty good at this. And so he and his uncle was bidding on, the local cops would come in and buy things, and they told the uncle, oh, you should, go through the government contracting system so you could sell to the whole department instead of just selling to, a couple guys here and there in the department. So his uncle started bidding on government contracts to sell, firearms and small arms ammo, bulletproof vests, boots, various accessories to the local and state police. And so he learned how to do government contracting from his uncle. His uncle put him on the job to fill out all the paperwork and do these government contracting bids. And so he learned how to do that. He worked for his uncle for about 2 years. And then his uncle claims that he stole like $70K from him. He claims that his uncle stole the $70K from him. They're both well-known scumbags in the industry. So, I believe them both. Yeah. And so he quit, and he came back to Miami, and he took over a company that his dad wasn't using called AEY Inc.
Okay.
And in the movie, there's the famous scene. Jonah Hill is asked, what does AEY stand for? And he's like, oh, you mean like morally? And he's like, no, like what do the letters stand for? No, it stands for nothing. Like IBM stands for nothing. And the guy's like, oh, it stands for International Business Machines. He's like, get the fuck out of here, So there's that scene in the movie. And actually, AEY does stand for something. It's so that's one of the things they changed in the film because it was funnier that way. It stands for the initials of his dad's 3 sons.
Oh, okay.
So the E in AEY is Ephraim.
Gotcha.
So it stands for Avrami, Ephraim, Yeshaya. It's the three names.
And it was just a holding company that they weren't using?
It was just a holding company. He originally started it as, I think, a label printing business. And he just never did much with it. So it was just kind of like, mothballed.
Yeah.
And so Ephraim took it over, registered it with the federal government so he'd be eligible to bid on government contracts. And this was in 2000, early 2005, late 2004 when he started by himself, and he was still 17. That's why he was doing everything under his dad's name, his dad's company's name. And this was right after the invasion of Iraq.
Right.
And the Bush administration pretty much destroyed Iraq, and then they were trying to build up the country and turn it into a democracy. That was the idea.
Right.
They did the same thing with Afghanistan.
Right.
So part of that nation building process was they had to spend a lot of money to build this nation. So the way they spent money is through the government contracting system. So there was literally trillions of dollars getting put in. I think they spent about $1 or $2 trillion on the entire.
Wow.
Yeah, on the Iraq-Afghanistan combo.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's some of our national debt. That's where it went.
Wow.
And so he would Ephraim started bidding on all, because he already knew the gun business from working for his uncle. So they were trying to build up the Afghan and Iraqi National Army and police forces, and they need guns and ammo and bulletproof vests and uniforms and boots and all that stuff. And so he started bidding on all these contracts, and he started winning a bunch of these contracts, started doing really well. And then after about a year of working by himself, we bumped into each other at like a mutual friend's house. And he asked me what I was doing. At the time, I was in college studying chemistry.
Yeah.
I also had a few side businesses. I was working as a professional massage therapist. That part of the movie.
True.
That is true. It was very part-time thing. Yeah. I had done it before. I had started my part-time businesses that were making me more money at the time. But I noticed that girls like massage therapists. So
why not?
It helped.
Great perk.
Exactly. So it didn't hurt in that department. But I also started a business importing SD cards from China and selling them on eBay. I was importing bed sheets and towels from Pakistan and selling them to nursing homes. That part is true too, though not in the way they portray it in the movie.
Okay.
In the movie, like I'm going to this guy's nursing home and like begging him to buy my towels, and he's turning me down. You know,
well, big cinema. They have to make it entertaining.
They have to have it a better arc. You know, so in real life, I actually never even took delivery of the like I was just a broker. You know? And I was doing containers. I wasn't like filling my apartment up with boxes.
Better for the movies.
Yeah, it was better in the movie.
Yeah.
So I was doing these businesses and doing pretty well. You know, I had like at the time I had saved up about like $100K. That I had made in the past year. Yeah. So I thought I was pretty hot shit. You know, I was like, I'm 22 years old. I have $100,000 in the bank. I have way more than any of my friends who are all like flipping burgers, know, and working as waiters. So I was like, I'm pretty good at this business. You know? And so then I meet him and he asked me what I'm doing. And I tell him, doing the SD cards, the bed sheets, etc. And he's like, oh, that's the stuff you're doing is a lot of the things you're doing is similar to what I do in my business, finding suppliers overseas, arranging logistics, figuring out the financing, import, licensing, all that stuff. He's like, but I bet I'm making way more money than you. Yeah. So you should come and work with me. I need a partner, a smart guy I can trust. Yeah. We would make so much more money together than you're making on your own. And I'm like, well, you sure about that? I mean, how much money have you made? I thought I was pretty hot.
Doing well.
Yeah, I thought I was doing pretty good. Yeah. And so he's like, okay, I'll tell you. I'm gonna tell you, but only to inspire you. I'm not bragging. Yeah. Okay. And he opens up his laptop and he's like, he logs into his Bank of America account. And he shows me, and he has $1.8 million in cash in his bank account, in his checking account, his business checking account. And I'm like, holy shit. Wow. I thought I was pretty hot for like having $100K. Right. And he's like, I made this in the last year. Wow. And I'm like, whoa, this guy knows something I don't know. Yeah. I'm like, okay, I'm in. Teach me what you know.
Yeah, please.
And that's how I got into it.
Wow. Yeah. So he brought you in because you were smart. You could bring some value to him. Exactly. He needed a partner. Yeah. What was the first thing you guys did together?
So the idea originally was that I wouldn't work on like arms dealing contracts.
Yeah. Other government contracts?
Yeah. So the idea was that I would work on fuel contracts. Mm-hmm. Right?
Oh yeah, that's what you said. That was your first deal.
That was the first deal I actually got. Yeah. Because the reason I picked fuel was because it's a consumable good, right? So they're constantly buying more of it. It's never going to end, right?
Yeah. Well, on that notion though, like. There's probably tons of people that can supply fuel. Like,
correct.
Is it the lowest bidder that gets the deal, or how does that work?
So the way government contracting works is it's a combination of factors. It really depends on the size of the contract, which is affects which things they take into account, right? So if it's a contract these days, the number is under 250K. That's considered a small contract for the government. So you don't need any past performance history. You could be a brand newbie to the game, and you could win a $250,000 contract.
That's 250K in like top line revenue. Like
that's top line revenue.
Gotcha.
Whatever your profit margin is, whatever you manage to squeeze out of your suppliers and situation of how you bid the contract. And the profit margins can vary widely. Like for big contracts, it's usually on the low end, like 10% or lower.
Yeah.
But for small contracts, I've seen people make like 40, 50% margins.
Wow.
Yeah. But you really need to know the industry really well in order to know that you're going to still win the contract with those margins.
Yeah.
So when you're first starting out and you don't know the industry that you're bidding on well, usually you'll be pretty conservative. You'll just put on like 10% and hope to win a contract. So you build up past performance. Once you have a bit of past performance under your belt, some contracts that you've delivered successfully on, now you're eligible for the bigger contracts.
Gotcha.
Yeah, otherwise, above 250K, they require you to prove that you can do this business.
Right.
And that you have some history doing the business.
So how is it not, and I want to go back to the story, but I'm just curious, how is it not just a race to the bottom on all these contracts? Like, for example, in my business, we do fulfillment for drop shippers.
Yeah.
And people come to us, they ask for a quote. We give them a quote. They got a cheaper quote somewhere else. They come back to us, we come lower.
Yeah.
We're able to win because we actually own our supply chain and we can usually beat people. But in this, it's mostly brokers, right?
Yeah. So there's a combination of things.
Yeah.
There's a lot of brokers. There's also businesses, end suppliers, so to speak, who also bid on contracts. But the end suppliers aren't always the most competitive, right? So like take ammunition, for example, right? Manufacturers have certain fixed costs, right? They have to pay for the copper, they have to pay for the gunpowder, they have to pay for the labor, the electricity, and those things fluctuate with time, right? Now, so when they're bidding on an ammo contract and they're selling to the government, there's only so far they can go, as far as being competitive.
Yeah, I'm creating new ammo.
Exactly, when you're creating new ammo.
Right.
Now, if you're a broker and you find, this police department has had this ammo sitting in their warehouse for 10 years, and it's kind of coming to the point where they don't really they need to use it or lose it.
Yeah, you can negotiate better.
You can negotiate.
Liquidate it.
Yeah, the liquidation opportunities are large, right? And the same thing goes with food, with clothes that are out of fashion. So there's a lot of industries that a broker can beat the manufacturer.
Because you could find the deal. It's all about finding the deal.
It's all about finding the deal.
But fuel has a price.
Yeah. So fuel tends to move with the markets.
Yeah.
Right. Now you would be surprised that a lot of large companies, they aren't even registered to do business with the government.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
You'd be surprised.
Such a big business to do.
You would think so. Because it's a pain in the ass.
Gotcha.
Right? So there's a lot of paperwork. There's a lot of regulations. There's a learning curve when you first start doing it. The government pays you net 30, which a lot of businesses don't like.
And I heard, I have a friend who lives in my neighborhood who does government contracting for accounting services, and they can go back and audit him 3 years later on things that have been done for years.
Yeah. So there are issues like that. I haven't heard of anything like that happening too egregiously. I'm sure it can happen. But yeah, you really need to dot your I's and cross your T's with government contracting. You could get in trouble. It's a lot more bureaucracy than the private sector.
Gotcha.
And you need more financing. So a lot of companies, they don't want to deal with it.
It's just not worth it for them.
Yeah, it's not worth it. They already have enough demand in the private sector that they don't want to deal with the hassles of the government sector. So actually, one of the services that we provide at War Dogs Academy, that we can get to later, is we offer a complete end-to-end service for companies.
Wow.
So we have a course to teach entrepreneurs who want to do things on their own.
Yeah.
But for obviously a higher price, we have like an in-house team that will do this B2B service for companies. We've already had quite a few companies use these services.
Yeah.
And it makes sense for them because yes, it's more money up front, but they don't have the learning curve. So they don't have to waste all those months of learning and setting things up and making mistakes and learning the hard way. And they just hit the ground running. There's oftentimes companies come to us when they see a government opportunity that has a hard deadline in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, they need help.
And they're like, we don't have time to learn this shit. Yeah. You guys do this for us. And through that process, we'll train our staff to do the next one.